Hi everyone, this is Killshot 99 Gaming. This is Fear the Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 3, live fan reactions. And yes, hopefully you guys can hear it in my voice. I love the episode, absolutely tremendous episode. I'm not trying to sway you, but last week I called a lot of heat. I didn't like it last week. I know we talked about it. It set some people off the wrong way. But tonight was back to what I felt was Fear the Walking Dead. It had, we had Dwight there, we had a good theme, and we had a little bit of that Fear the Walking Dead type of humor. Before we get into it, let me give a couple shout outs, and we'll break this down in a couple minutes. I want to give a shout out to the Patreon Army. Thank you so much. You can see them up on the screen. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you for everything that you guys do. And I saw we got super chatters in the house. What's up, Valar? Hello, 99 Army, Kill Steph, Emmy Kill, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, channel members, and of course, all the super chatters. I got to start out because we didn't do the countdown. As you guys know, we're going to do the countdown still, but the AMC premiere, you can watch it 48 hours in advance. Many of you have already watched it or had already watched it on Friday night, but what we're going to do is we're going to do the countdowns in the future. We didn't do it tonight because it was Father's Day, but when we do the countdowns, a lot of times what we do is we ask you guys to do a rating system from a 1 to a 10, and what do you think it's going to be? So I'm going to ask you guys right now, from a 1 to a 10, tonight's episode. Put your score up on the board. I'm going to give you mine shortly, and I'm going to give you the validation and the justification behind this. Let's see some of the scores start to pop up. I see Daryl Stoltz is saying 8 out of 10. Liz says a 9. Ooh, Chris, 6 or a 7. Really? We're going to talk about that in a second. Darkstar says 9. Prince Pie, 8.75. Paris, 7. Grimes on the Radio, 9. Ramona Heath, an 8. Wilani, 9.5. Natalie, a 9. Stay in the car, June. Stay in the car. No, June. Get out of the car. William, June could just step on that board full of nails and get tetanus. I'm okay with that. It's winding down. A lot of people saying 9s. I am going to give tonight's episode a 9.5. I'm going big tonight. 9.5. Over the next couple of days, we're going to talk about some things. Look, I'm not trying to change your score, but there were some really cool things that I do want to point out. It wasn't redundant. It wasn't repetitive. There's some trickery going on. I feel about tonight's episode the same way I felt about Fear the Walking Dead last season. I really liked it when we were doing it, doing the broadcast. It was great. So, yeah, a couple people are going to say, why? Why? One is I liked the rodeo, the museum, the method acting that John was doing. I thought they tied it into a really good central theme. I like the Dwight story a lot. Daryl Stoltz, I like the San Antonio split. So I thought a San Antonio split was when Kawhi Leonard went to the Toronto Raptors. Too soon? No, okay. A little bit of basketball joke there. He played for San Antonio, and then he split. That was Fear the Walking Dead at its finest. So remember, the one theme I've always said about Fear the Walking Dead is when they tried to be serious with the coincidence, it wasn't good. But when they do it like they can split the bullet and you're expecting the unexpected, like it's the impossible. I see the humor in that. Like, their back is up against the wall. And they tied an element of seriousness with it. We wanted to know the story to Dwight. We wanted to know what he's looking for, how he got there, all the clues, where is Sherry? And then I also like the fact that at one point, who was excited when you saw the introduction of Dwight? I mean, we did kind of predict this, right? A couple weeks ago when we saw the preview. Somebody pulled a gun on John, and most of us were like, okay, it's got to be Dwight. I know after you see it, it's hindsight, everybody's going to say it was obvious, but it wasn't obvious at the time. But I want to know kind of like the excitement level when you saw Dwight. Like, yes, we finally got somebody. Okay, that's a driving force. Now, I'm going to tie that in with something else. Let me get a super chat. We got June Smith. The good, the bad, the ugly, John Dorie. Loved Dwight's interest. Made me miss Rick so much more. It's a good point. It brings back some of that common bond that we have from The Walking Dead. How many people look, there were some questions that were answered. Maybe they were subtle. How many people like the fact that we finally get the term walkers on Fear the Walking Dead. That it was very subtle, but what? Walkers. It's named for the dead. That Dwight kind of got that. So there's another crossover. You might not have seen that as a big crossover, but it was. Now we got the terminology. All right? So we're 2 for 2 now. Princess Pie super chat and says, it was good to see true love and genuine person like John, who is just trying to help and giving people faith and hope. And wow, the shooting scene was brilliant. Shooting scene was great. I know we'd questioned last week, are they going a little too much with the Wild West? I thought it was just enough, which is why I gave this episode 9.5. Fluff the Flamethrower says, I like the Walker doing the Michael Jackson lean in the dust storm. There were several things with the Walker. Fluff, let me ask you guys if you noticed this. This was brilliant. If you talk about mood and tone, okay, in most cases, when someone is trapped in a car, the walkers are climbing on the car, they're clawing, they're trying to get in. Did anybody find it, I won't use the word romantic, but it was kind of appropriate that there was a walker in the background behind Dwight when they were on the radio, when Dwight was contemplating killing himself, and it was almost like the walker was sympathizing with Dwight's situation. If you guys didn't see that, go back and watch it. They weren't crawling all over each other to get in there. He was just kind of, there was one in the back, and he was just kind of waving a little bit, and they were playing kind of that music in the background. I was like, the walkers are getting into the vibe of Dwight's depression. It was so well done. If you expect everything on this show to be serious and to be hardcore, I think you're missing a little bit of what the producers are doing. Very, very well done. Will the Bill says, the Morgan and Dwight meetup could have been more. It was like, hey, you two know each other? Cool, let's get over here. Certainly, William, there could have been a little more build-up with that, but we also, I like the transition of, look, don't talk about it, don't want to know what you did, and then the next thing we know, we got all of them ready to just storm in and kill all these walkers. That's what I've been waiting on. So what frustrated me last week was how weak everybody went, and Alicia's just, oh, I can't go on, I can't do this, I don't have any of this, strand, goes around in circles for nothing, and then we kind of waste that. And tonight we got Morgan with his pipe, we got Dwight with the axe, everybody's there and they're ready to storm the gates. This is what I think Fear the Walking Dead is going to become. It's going to become this mini superhero vibe. And then we also, one of the other things that were a little bit frustrating last week was the Alicia dialogue. I thought it was, I asked the group, did you guys see some pretty good closure with Alicia where she was finally able to open up over the walkie-talkie with the kids? Hey, I lost somebody. It was good for me to finally get that, to hear her say it and to get it off her chest. So what bothered me about the Morgan-Alicia conversation is it's repetitive, it's tired, and at least tonight it was almost like, okay, one more time, just say it, now we know it's been bugging you. And the irony to that is here she is, she's naive again. She gets it off her chest, and then she's being manipulated by Dylan, Max, and Annie. So that could be a real change with Alicia's character. So I'm hoping they kind of propel her forward after she gets taken advantage of for the last time. Like, I shouldn't have even believed those kids. So I like some of the closure to that as well. John's character. We'll talk about that for a couple seconds. So, look, there were several things in the last stream that we talked about that many of you were as frustrated as I was. There were a lot of open-ended stories. Tonight did not answer the big questions, but it did answer several of the small questions. And once I go through a few of those, this is going to be reactions tonight. We're going to do more of an extended breakdown tomorrow night. But I think if you watch it again, or if we talk about it, or we pick up on a few things that maybe you guys didn't see or I didn't see and we kind of compare notes, I'm going to estimate that most of you are going to add at least half a point to your overall score. I do think this episode had a lot to it that might have been missed on the surface. Daniel Park says, do you think Rick's movie will be in theaters? I don't, Daniel. I think it's going to be an AMC 3-part series, or I mean, if it were, I would love it. I would love to go see it. But I just don't think the non-Walking Dead fans are going to go watch it in a theater unless it's like some special times, special theater events. Will the Bill? It answered a lot for me. June and John ain't going nowhere. So Will the Bill says that this June and John relationship is forever. Hang on, April. I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. Will, I think the opposite. And if you guys don't know, me and Will the Bill do have a little side wager going on where Will thinks that June and John will live the entire season. I think one of them will die, probably June. How many people thought tonight got them just a little bit closer? That maybe it's going to hurt a little bit more when June dies this season. Judy Perry gives it a 10. I feel like every time, we get that kiss, we get that moment, we get that bonding season, we get that, all those things to me just says, they're gone. Kel, they ain't going to survive. Wishful thinking, ma'am. Wishful thinking. June is gone. They're milking this relationship to get everybody sucked into it as much as they can get to make it this drastic, showing them shooting together and all these great scenes. Nah, she's gone. So tonight, here's one of the questions that got answered. And it was not only answered for the audience, it was answered for John. So, June and John, did you guys feel like this was a partial callback to the Rick and Michonne going out on their own and having their own little excursion away from the group? Remember the Rick and Michonne scene? And then the car, and then the Ferris wheel, and then the deer. So I kind of felt like they were hinting at that. And I almost thought we were going to get it when June was asking about, staying there. We can't go out in the dust. And June was kind of playfully teasing him. Kind of what happens if we just stay here? And John, true to character, this is one of the questions that got answered. John is more interested in keeping June safe than enjoying the relationship with June. Tonight's episode flipped the narrative big time. This is why I think now more than ever, if I was sure last week that June was going to die, I am positive after this week June is going to die. Because we finally got the answers to those questions. John feels guilty about being in the relationship with June. And that's part one, April V. So part two, to answer that question, was when June was talking on the radio. That was a continuation of that John story. When John was sitting there and he heard, looking for her and it was worth it, then at that moment, June says to John, Dwight needed to hear it. And John says to June, I needed to hear it too. I need to know that I can't tell anybody else why I did it, why I've been looking for you. I can't enjoy it. I'm guilty about all the things that I've done in order to find you. And now I get it. Now it's worthwhile to me. Now you bring closure. You kind of that completion. The story is full circle. So we've seen the bonding. We've seen the adventure. Now we've heard the reason behind it. So now it's just going to be a little bit more danger. It does, Walani. I think when you have something that's as big as an opportunity of doing scenes together or maybe breaking a group up, you've got to get it to the apex. You got to get it as far as you can. And Walani just said it kind of gets you in the feels. Now that we're starting to feel that relationship is when the relationship's at risk. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think we're going to enjoy it. We're going to experience it a little bit more. But, yep. And the thing is, with AMC Premiere, some of you will know quicker than others. All right. A couple more things here. April, kind of to get back to your question, and what are some of the questions that got answered? I absolutely loved that Dwight has been finding these notes. He found the car. He's on such a fragile situation that as soon as June mentioned nobody survived at the campground, he was ready to die. His journey is over. Dwight is going to be somebody we have to keep a close eye. Now, do I think they're going to kill Dwight? No, I don't. But do I think that they're going to use this storyline to be a barometer of what it is that keeps him going? And then are they going to be able to transition him out of that if he finds out that Sherry's dead? So John brought some good closure to it, but when June said, if there's a chance she's alive, you got to keep looking. So Dwight, full redemption. He's got a quest. Is it possible that Dwight becomes the strength to keep John going after John loses June? That's going to be a little bit of his mission? June and John save Dwight. They're keeping him going. June is the reason why he didn't kill himself. So could he use that as his motivation to continue? Just not ready to make that prediction just yet, but just kind of, take the concept and just store it to the side a little bit. I think it's a story that has been set up quite well. One thing that this episode did not do for me is it didn't completely erase the average of last week. However, it helped. I thought the car, I thought that brief moment of thinking that Sherry could have been dead. All right, so follow-up question for the group. I need your mental image. So when June said to Dwight, and be honest here. So when June said to Dwight that no one survived at the camp, how many people started visualizing one of those skulls with Sherry in the middle of those ashes? That's the first thing that popped in my mind was, I don't know, I just got this mental image like, oh, that was Sherry. And if a lot of people got the same mental image as me, Amy Ferreira did, Darkstar did, look at all the people, the first thing that they thought was Sherry's skull was in those ashes. So if you don't think the writers did an incredible job of setting that up, it's not coincidence that this many people had that exact same feel, that exact same emotion. We didn't think Sherry was captured necessarily. We didn't think she was one of the people knocking behind the door. We thought the worst. We thought she was burnt. And then the way they segued that into a storyline, I loved it. That honestly is what made it over a 9 for me, is the Dwight closure, the John and June getting a step closer, and Alicia, hopefully it's the last time we hear poor, helpless Alicia type of thing. I'm so ready for her to be taken advantage of by these kids and just become a badass. And I think we're going to see that. June Smith super chat. It says, I think Dwight can be a little tricky, but his journey hopefully has changed his Negan mentality. June, I think the Negan mentality has already been long gone. I never saw Dwight as that. I always saw Dwight as the person that was doing anything he could to keep Sherry alive. And that didn't go over real well with what he did to Denise and what he did to others, but I understand him. I didn't always agree with what he did, but I understand it was either him or them. Tammy Heitzman says, also, the time difference was specified. Dwight said he's been out looking for 1 year. That is correct, but we could still, Tammy, I think that's a great point. Still could be a month or two mixed into that. So it appears, if we just go based on where Dwight, if that is truly 1 year, we're a few months away from them finding Rick. Well, Najee, that's the key. So Najee says he said it's at least a year, probably more like 18 months. And I'll go back to what we sort of speculated the last couple weeks. If it's a year, it's 6 months before Rick left. If it's 18 months, it's right about that time. If it's slightly longer, so I think they planted that 1 year to let us know that Rick is still building the bridge, or Negan is still in prison. Will the Bill, Earl G, good theory. Is it Sherry on the radio? Well, William, if it is Sherry on the radio, it means Sherry's lived another 7 years. So, it's possible. My question is, why? Why Sherry? I mean, it may be, it may not. I don't, and Earl, it's not to kind of pee on your theory here. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying I don't see the value in Sherry over the radio unless she's the lone survivor of Fear the Walking Dead. Because I don't think Sherry's a big enough character, and I don't think she's big enough to the storyline that it would make a difference on The Walking Dead. Now, it doesn't mean that if Fear the Walking Dead kind of, there's some major events that happen or some other people get taken for Rick's movie, yeah, okay, then that would strike a chord with me. Crimson 19, how about the split shot off the axe? That is called Crimson 19. We refer to that as the San Antonio split. It was awesome. It was absolutely, well, for me it was awesome. I don't know if it's awesome for everybody because there's people that want to see everything at face value. And there's people that look at a fictitious zombie apocalypse and say, well, there's no way he could have done that. And I get it. But there's also no way that Charlie and Alicia, the walker, falls on the lock and breaks the lock. I mean, Fear the Walking Dead has some coincidences, and when you buy into them and you don't just break every one of them down and analyze every single one of them to be real, they can be fun. Princess Pie, for whom it may concern, Morgan saw Dwight in The Walking Dead 8:16 when Dwight was cowering behind a car and Morgan saw him, but they never interact. Well, they are familiar with each other. And I think they never had a scene together, that is true. But one would think that Morgan, Rick, Daryl, they knew who Negan's men were. And they knew Dwight was one of the lieutenants. Just like they knew Eugene was captured. And Morgan certainly knows the backstory. I mean, certainly, I look at both sides of it. Whereas some people are probably going to get really caught up on the San Antonio split. Did anybody notice that Alicia and Lucy didn't bother to pick up the board full of nails and move it out of the road to keep Morgan from driving over it? I mean, if we're going to break things down, yeah, they could have picked it up and tossed it to the side of the street just to make sure Morgan doesn't hit it as well. Daryl Stultz kills. What are the kids trying to hide or protect from outsiders with the walkers? You know, Daryl, I think that is $1 million question. Exactly. See, that's what I like, Villar. Villar's like, they did. They just did it off the screen. I don't want to seem inconsistent with my analysis of Fear the Walking Dead. In fact, I think I'm very consistent. And I've been consistent since season 3. So consistent, in fact, last week I called a lot of heat. And if you guys don't know our channel and you don't know our rabid fan base, when I'm critical of The Walking Dead, I get a lot of questions like, why didn't you like it? I loved it. What's wrong with it? But I criticize it for different reasons. I try to criticize it as a fan. And it usually happens when I think the story is, there's too many things with time and too many stories, and you don't answer the questions fast enough. Kind of like that, right? But I would say tonight, of the 3 episodes, I like this one the best. I got a super chat. I'll get back to that point in 1 second. Ray Beard, just stopping in to say Happy Father's Day. Love y'all. Ray, Happy Father's Day to you and to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day. Hopefully you guys had a great day. Hopefully you enjoyed today. Maybe got a chance to relax and hang out with family. Now, also tonight, let me play devil's advocate a little bit just to kind of make it fun. So let's say me, Julia Muse, Fluff, Hippo, Walani, and one other person. Dark Star. Let's say there's like 5 or 6 of us, right? And we're those characters at the end. You know, Alicia, Morgan, all of them. We're all there, right? And we're cocking our weapon. You got the axe. You got the pipe drawn back. Anyway, we're ready. We're ready to storm some people. And nothing's gonna hold us back. We're going. And then all of a sudden, you get this radio like, yeah, we're in trouble. You know, we're back where you were. And then all of a sudden, Alicia's like, okay, we got to go get them. All right. Do you think at least one of us, maybe Julia, maybe Wilani, maybe one person is just going to like chime in and say, hey, hang on, hold on. Let's just go check. The kids will be there. We got to this point. I just want to see what's on the other side. I just want to double check. All of us are here. One of us might not be here the next time we're here. We got weapons drawn, ready to go. Can the kids, Alicia, can the kids wait, like, seriously, 30 minutes? I just want to check and see what's on the other side of these walkers. That's all. So, if you really want to criticize something for tonight's episode, it's that. It's like they're at the point of discovery, and then they just load up, and go back to get the kids. But how many times do they split up? But this one time, they couldn't say, okay, here. Even in The Walking Dead, you had Ozzy and you had everybody split up. And they're like, well, we need to go find out what happened to these people in the wagon. You guys go this way. You guys go that way. We'll meet you back. And they didn't even have walkie-talkies in The Walking Dead. But these people have walkie-talkies. So why not say, Alicia, if you feel that comfortable about it, you and Lucy, you guys go, check on the kids, and rest of us, we're going to go see what's on the other side of these walkers once and for all. See, that's what I would see happening. If you want to break it down, yeah. Will the Bill. Oh, man. Will the Bill super chatting really wants June to stay in the car. Will the Bill, there is a chance June could get carbon monoxide poisoning if she stays in the car. So I think that's a great idea. Hopefully, June's, any way she goes, I don't care. E-Beach, how about those kids? Well, the kids really are the big question right now, Eric. It's how tricky, and this was, if you guys didn't notice this is the same trick that Alicia and everybody played on Althea last season. So I guess turnabout's fair play. Najee Watt, Sherry, CRM, Logan, Radiation, Borders, lots of storylines and mystery in play to keep viewers interested in future seasons if they play it outright. Agree with that, Najee. Some need to be beyond the season, and I think that's a great call out. Some probably need to be answered quicker than others. Amy Ferreira says, Happy Father's Day to the dad of the 3Gs. Thank you so much, Amy. And 3Gs did have a wonderful day, and I did as well. Get a chance to spend some time with them. So kind of back to Brian Clayton, kills. I know that you were getting all kinds of excited when June's gun jammed. I was like, so Brian, I didn't think June would die tonight. I don't think June's going to die next week. But I do think that every time we see it and we see something, we're getting closer and closer and closer. Well, see, that's the thing, Roxanne. And I think that's why some people disagree with tonight's episode. I got the questions I needed answered tonight. And they were character development questions. The major storylines, like Najee said, I could see the radiation thing really being a long-term story. I could see Sherry being kind of that carrot at the end of the stick to keep Dwight focused. I don't need answers to those questions right now. But the character development, to me, were big. Alicia's role tonight, Dwight's role tonight, and John's role tonight, I thought were great. I think it sets the stage. It really set the stage for that scene where they were getting ready to go kill some stuff. Is this not the whole dragging everybody down, pouting? Can you guys make sure this Alex the asshat is banned from our channel? What an idiot. All right, I'm getting back to super chats here. Will the Bill, you were the actor. I was telling you to stay in the car. I can have a beer with you if you stub your toe. Will, it's going to be a fun bet, I will tell you, because I honestly think every week is going to be pins and needles once we get to, like, the mid-season finale. Where I would say watch out for episode 8. Ecom, I think kids will stumble into real trouble while trying to push our group away. I feel there's a bigger threat out there we haven't fully seen. Okay, so I need to get a pulse survey out there just for the 999 Army. Let's talk about those kids for a second. Are they annoying enough, and have they caused enough problems that we really care whether they live or die? Even if the kids get in more trouble, do we want to waste a lot of our time with these sneaky little kids? Salvageable, or do they need an exit? Do we see these kids being long-term? Julia says they're evil. Amy Ferreira, don't care about them. I do want to remind many of you in this stream, the first time you met Lydia, you hated Lydia like no other character. Just remember Lydia. If Lydia can be written into a positive storyline, I mean, these kids technically could still be saved, but they're going down a really slippery path. Chris Rainey doesn't think the kids are bad. Rachel? Salvageable? I did. Wow, when we saw Lydia, it was pretty bad. And even Charlie. Lydia and Charlie, well, and even Henry, honestly, let's think about it. Now we've channeled our Charlie hatred, our Lydia hatred, and our all right, this is the reaction. I'm going to wind this down a little bit. I want to show you how wacky the Walking Dead universe is. All right, bear with me for 1 second, but I need your cooperation with this. Lydia was an accomplice to murder. Charlie killed Nick. Henry let Gregory out of the fence. And all three of those are higher on our like list than Gage. And Gage has killed no one. All Gage did is peed on a walker and made fun of Lydia. That's all he did. But yet, we hate Gage more than any of the other three. We've already completely forgiven all of the other three, but yet we want to see Gage die a miserable death. Funny how our emotions are. It's right, Paris like, well, Gage is a jerk. Well, I get it. He's a jerk, but other people have done worse. Cracks me up. We don't like bullies and we don't like jerks. Catface Killer. I was late watching, so is John a cowboy actor? He was. He was a cowboy actor, and his name was Six Gun Sam. So, now I guess John doesn't have quite many names as Naomi, June. But we do know John has been a John, and he's been a Six Gun Sam as a stage name. No. Maria, Gage did not push Henry into the pit. Henry jumped in to kill the walker to keep Gage from torturing the walker. I mean, Gage has not done a lot bad, but we hate him. It's like he's got to die. He made fun of Lydia. Northside Queen. Don't forget Lizzie. She killed her sister, almost killed Judith and a bunch of animals. The apocalypse turned these kids into savages. And you're right, Northside Queen, and we don't have a lot of tolerance for it. Chris Robinson wants to know 1 to a 10. Chris Robinson, for me, it's one of the best episodes I've seen in a year and a half. Not for everybody. We got some 7s. We got some 8s. I absolutely loved it. I love the Dwight crossover. I love the story. I love that they didn't add a whole lot of new stories to it. So even though we didn't get all the closure, And look, next week we're gonna get Strand stealing the plane, so that story will kind of answer itself. And we'll find out a little bit more about the kids. So it seems like a good pace. I mean, remember, next week is only episode 4. All right, everybody. Hey, I'm having a great time doing the reaction video, but we do like to keep our reaction videos at around 30 minutes. We're almost at 40 minutes. We got some really good scores. We got some really good interaction. Tomorrow night, and once you guys get a chance to see a little bit more of the dialogue, let it sink in, maybe watch it again, we are going to be doing our Fear the Walking Dead complete breakdown. I got 5 pages of notes, so I know we touched on a few of the topics tonight. Missed you guys the last 3 days. It's absolute wonderful joy hanging out with you guys talking about our favorite universe, The Walking Dead. So if you guys missed the announcement on the Patreon page, or if you missed the announcement on the Facebook fan page, we are going to be streaming every day between now and 4th of July, with the exception of this coming up Friday. So there's going to be a lot of streams every single night. And I've got Will the Bill just went super red mode. That is one of the top super chats you can put out there. We got Will the Bill, my support for next week. I won't be here all week, but I will be ready for freestyle. You guys have a blast. So, Will, keep in mind, thank you for that, Will. Appreciate it. And you guys can see the Will the Bill emojis jumping up there. So, Will, hopefully, and everybody got the message, freestyle will not be on Friday. Freestyle will be on Saturday this coming up week. So, absolutely. And let me say one more thing. If you guys did not get a chance to see on our fan page, Will the Bill did a really, really touching Father's Day shout-out. So thank you for that, Will. Absolutely appreciate it. I got several messages of people like, wow, very well said, stated, and I don't know if any of us could have said it any better, so thank you for that as well. And we will miss you throughout the week, but here's what we have in store, everybody. And I need every one of you to be here, so everybody needs to be here all week long so we can pop those Will the Bill emojis up there, since he's not going to be here. So here it is. Tomorrow night, we're going to be doing Fear the Walking Dead complete recap. We're going to be talking about this episode. Tuesday night, we got Random Things. You guys missed Random Things last week. Go back and watch it. We got new randomness, new surveys. We got a contest we're narrowing down. We also added a brand new Tri-Bond event. And if you guys liked Tri-Bond last week, give this video a thumbs up. And let me know if you guys would like to see Tri-Bond in the future of some of the random things. We had a good time with that. So if you guys want to do that again, I'll definitely be open to it. Also, Wednesday night, we're going to be talking about the Walking Dead universe. Thursday night as well. And we'll be off Friday. And then Saturday, we will be doing Saturday morning. We're going to be doing Coffee with Kills. Could be a rant. We like to have some fun with those rants. And then Saturday night, we're going to be doing our Freestyle Friday on Saturday night. And then the following week should be back to normal schedule every single night. Thanks for everything that you guys do. Absolutely missed you guys. I will be here tomorrow night at 9:30. Hit that like button on the way out the door, and I will see you then. Have a good night. Peace.